This is Armed American Radio.
If they want to take my guns, they're going to have to bring a station wagon and a whole lot of friends, because I'm not giving them anything.
From the Kahr Firearms Group studio
At the Patriot Mobile Communication Center. Proudly presented to you by the National Rifle Association.
National Rifle Association.
Here is your host of Armed American Radio, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting for your rights, Mark Walters.
Oh, that's what we're doing with you today, ladies and gentlemen. 6 days a week, in fact. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom today here in the Kahr Firearms Group studios. The CZ mic is fired up. The on-air lights are on over there. If you're driving by, wave, honk your horn, all that fun stuff. Patriot Mobile Command Center is fired up. It's all brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Here we are, Sunday Gun Day. Got here quick.
That was with no caffeine, but we'll fix that here shortly, because I got one of your favorite drinks here. I got a Celsius here. We'll nurse that throughout the night. Right? Hey, got to do that. Got to do that. Guys, we are okay. So let me explain what's going on here. So you can watch us live on Facebook.com as always, and we are up on Rumble, unfortunately, because the way it's been set up in the studio, it's using a different account. So it's on Rumble. You can look at Armed American Radio if you want to. It's got a little blue A there, but that will be fixed tomorrow to the proper account. That's been a complete whole setup because of the Rumble studio there. But after all, it is a radio show, but you can watch it there if you want to. Otherwise, we'll have it back on the regular channel that's got hundreds and hundreds of followers sometime tomorrow. Greg, I'll let you do your spiel, and then we'll get going because we have a really special guest and a really fun announcement today. Let's just say this. He's back. I'll turn it over to you for a second.
Yeah, sure. Other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com. Hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And lastly, to join the live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
That'll do it. Welcome in. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's back. I am really proud and honored to say he's back. The return. Today's broadcast marks the return, the one and only Neil McCabe, front page contributor for redstate.com. I have been dying to say that, I think, for about a year. Neil McCabe, how are you, my friend? Welcome in, brother. It's good to have you, you OGU.
It's great to be home, Mark.
You are home. Welcome home.
I appreciate your forbearance as I took frankly a necessary leave of absence for I had a specific Army detail which I could not be public about, but that detail is wrapped up, and now I'm home and back to work.
Oh golly, I don't even know what to do, Neil. I forgot how to do this with you. It's so good to have you here. Welcome home. So this is not.
Let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just throw out some constructs as we close out this year.
Constructs. Okay, go for it. Constructs. So Neil's going to throw out some constructs.
So the president has had an exceptionally successful first, 11 months or whatever, 10 months, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has been saying all of these terribly negative things, which frankly are not true. And maybe the best example of this is when there's a month or two ago, CNN was banging the pots and pans because inflation had jumped from 2.1 to 2.3%. Mm-hmm. And this is not the collapse of the Weimar Republic. Okay,
right.
This is not Argentina where you're going with wheelbarrows of money to buy bread. Okay, this is insane that this is a problem. And they've been predicting that because of the trade war and the tariffs, that there was going to be all of this inflation, which hasn't happened. And they also said that the job market was going to collapse, the labor market is in trouble, and that hasn't happened either. And if anything, people are sort of like, they're just sort of waiting for things to settle down, which makes sense in the first year of an administration. But one of the things that has made Trump 45 different from Trump 47 is they're just taking action on things that they let slide And there was, before, when there was criticism, say in 45, there was criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Now, nobody cares. In fact, we're going to do a meme, and we're going to put a sombrero on your head, and we're going to make fun of you. And we're just going to, even though we're just going to ridicule you, and we really just don't care. We're driving on. And the last thing I'll talk about is the midterms are obviously very important. And traditionally, the president, the White House, the president's party in the White House will lose seats in the House of Representatives in a midterm. And so not so much in the Senate. In fact, in 2018, Trump picked up 3 seats. And so in 1970, Nixon picked up like 6 seats. I think there's a very good chance that Trump actually picks up seats in the House, just like Roosevelt did in 34, because it's what I would call a validating the trend. But I think what we're going to see is going into the midterms, people are starting to freak out. Maybe not here, right? And hello to all the knuckleheads at Armed American Radio.
They've been dying to hear you say that, so welcome.
Yeah, so you know, my crew. But the thing is, the thing is that going into next year's midterm, you're going to have the World Cup. You're going to have, you know, the celebration of the 250th birthday is going to be, you know, there's just going to be a lot of stuff going on all through the summer, and so it's going to be a very positive mood for the country going into the 250th birthday, and Trump is going to be front and center on that, and you're going to start to see all of the really important reforms in the one big beautiful bill that went through, and that was not technically, I guess they can call it a tax cut. Technically, you're not supposed to cut taxes in a bill that you use. They basically were able to avoid filibuster, so they were able to ram that through. And so by law, you're not supposed to change the tax numbers one way or the other. But there were significant reforms in that bill, and people are going to start selling it, and people are going to start seeing it, and there's going to be a lot of very positive action. And I think the other thing that no one is talking about is that the 925C program is going to allow Americans who have felonies to apply for the restoration of their gun rights. And that final rule, that should probably be in effect. It's my understanding that it was slowed down because of the 41-day shutdown. And during a shutdown, you can't really work on regulatory and administrative stuff. It has to be like essential national security things and whatever. So that 41-day or 42-day gap is going to push back the 925C program, the firearm rights restoration program. But if there are 25 million felons in America, conceivably 1 million of them could get their gun rights. And there's going to be, you know, did you use a gun in a violent crime?
Yeah, there's a lot involved there. There's a lot of nuance involved there.
I just want to talk to the people right now who are listening and just say, listen, if all you did was steal $100,000 from the Youth Hockey League, you may get your guns back. You know, there's a lot of crimes that, you know, whatever, we all make mistakes. Boys will be boys. And so I think politically that's going to be extraordinarily significant in lots of parts of this country where people want to be passionate, and they're going to want to keep that program. That program was instituted, Mark, in 1968 in the Gun Control Act and was completely ignored. In fact, President George W. Bush defunded the office, and it has not been funded since.
H.W. Bush.
So that one of the things the Trump administration has done through the Justice Department is rebooted the 925C provisions that allow people to apply for their gun rights back. It doesn't mean you get them back,
right?
But at least that option that was always there, that everybody basically it was ignored, and then George H.W. Bush kneecapped it because in 1992 there's nothing he feared more than getting reelected, and so he said, you know what? He resigned from his membership of the NRA. He went after the cops
Mm-hmm.
who tried to, when Rodney King was resisting arrest, right? He prosecuted those guys on civil rights. He did a lot of crazy things that that were directly concerning to gun owners. And he banned the importation of AK-47s.
Mm-hmm.
And so there we are.
So, see, Neil is a professional, ladies and gentlemen. Neil heard that music, and he said, so there we are. Neil, I love you. Welcome home, brother. The return, ladies and gentlemen, of the great Neil McCabe. Neil will be coming on the program, let's just say a regular basis again, and we welcome his return back to the program. When we come back, I want to make one comment about everything he just said, and then we'll continue on with Neil. Don't go away. Guys, got a bunch of questions for Neil. We're not going to have enough time. We never do. We're just so thrilled to have him back in the house. It's wonderful to have him home. But he was talking about, it's going to be a busy year, and it is the 250th anniversary of the United States, and Trump is going to go all in on this. And I can't wait to hear what Neil says. And I'll just tell you now, folks, I'm going to ask him the question, will the Democrats even participate in the nation's 250th birthday? Will they even participate? Greg, what do you think?
I think they're going to do everything they can to attempt to refute the greatness.
They're going to show their asses. That's for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
They are absolutely going to show their asses come this coming summer, ladies and gentlemen, in 2026. You mark my word. We used to, the un-Americans, right? We referred to them in the program for years and years and years. You're going to see it in real life coming up after January, folks, especially in the summertime. Will they participate with the President of the United States in the festivities? They won't. They can't. They don't know what to do. Fascinating stuff. Guys, we'll be right back with Neil. And then coming up, AWR Hawkins, then Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets for an hour, followed by a classic roundtable. Buckle in, ladies and gentlemen. Going to move right along, I promise you. following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Great to have you here today. It's also great to have the great Neil McCabe with us here. We'll get back to Neil in just a quick second. Welcome back to the Kahr Firearms Group Studios. The National Rifle Association is presenting this to you every single day. Join us at the NRA, won't you please? I had some great meetings with the NRA last week. More upcoming. Some amazing stuff getting ready to pop with them. That's all I can tell you at this point, but you do want to be a part of it, I can promise you. We make it simple. nra.org/AAR. Join us. You'll see the discounts you get over there. Just do it. We need your help. Welcome back to the show. Neil, let's get right back over to you. During the break, I was talking with Greg, and I said, I can't wait to come back. And I telegraphed to listeners who are watching the question I was going to ask you because, well, it was really a statement, and I want to get your comments on it. But I think everything that you said in the previous segment might not be true because none of that I've heard from the mainstream media. Can you square that up for me, Neil?
There is a disconnect, right? And what's happening is the mainstream media because of the way media has changed. There's always been a left-wing bias in the media, at least since World War II. Post-World War II, the liberals sort of took over the media and conservatives let them have it. And then we built up our own media with places where I worked, like One American News and Breitbart and Human Events, and of course, radio stations like this one and podcasts. And you saw, for instance, when Trump went on Joe Rogan, right? There were like 100 million downloads, and that's reaching audiences that the left just can't, the mainstream media can't reach. However, they still exist; they're still there, but the signal they're sending their signal that they're sending out is to a smaller and smaller, more politically committed audience. And that just does not want to hear what's really going on. They want it. It's not news. It's like infotainment.
Yeah, they want their narrative. They want their narrative advanced that reaffirms what they think and feel. And you're right. So I have that's a perfect place to ask this question that came up during the break as well, because you're absolutely right. Of course, I was being facetious. However, there's a lot going on in 2026, as you pointed out. Most notably, the 250th anniversary of the nation. Will the Democrats even participate?
It will be extremely overwhelming, and they will be unable to not participate, and it just will become one of those sort of American experiences that ceases to be political. And
I don't know if I agree with you on that. I think they're so dug in right now that they'll find every reason not to.
Oh, they will. Sure. They'll chip at it, right? They'll chip at it. They'll denigrate it. But in the end, it's summertime. It's the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. It's like Philadelphia is going to be packed with tourists. Washington, D.C. is going to be packed with tourists. Boston, Massachusetts, a place I've spent some time, will be packed with tourists. The American Revolution and all that hoo-ha-ha, that's going to be box office. There's a lot of people who are going to be selling Patriot tricorner hats and flags and balloons, and it's going to be something that, frankly, the left can't attack it because it's just going to be so monstrous. And
I don't know. Because it's Trump. It's Trump. I think you're right. I think it will overwhelm them. They're going to be forced. I mean, this is what Trump is so good at. Putting them back on their heels, making them look stupid. Now, the mainstream media doesn't tell you that. However, Trump tells the mainstream media that they're terrible individually. When they ask boneheaded questions, he points it right out to them. You're a terrible person. That's a stupid question. You're a stupid person. Yeah. He makes it clear to them. But as far as Jeffries and the rest of them, I don't know that they're going to want to be seen by their base, because their base, who is out there fighting, making fools of themselves all day long, is not going to let them, or we're going to see exactly where the Democrats stand come 2026. So that question then, the next one is, does that hurt them in the midterms? I believe it does. When they show their asses, which I believe they will, I think that hurts them in the midterms.
there's a great phrase, signal from the tower. And the problem with the Republican Party that basically opened the door for Obama. And, Obama was not an accident, and Obama was not some fool. Obama was a genius, and he got reelected. And Obama won Florida and Ohio, by the way, right? So do not, I know it's popular to denigrate a guy like Obama, but he saw the opening because the Republican Party was listening to the donors, and the Republican Party was listening to the Chamber of Commerce, and it was creating this sort of echo chamber, a very self-congratulatory echo chamber. And, you go to say like the Tea Party Revolution or the Tea Party Movement 2010, that was not a revolt against Obama. It was a revolt against the Republican leadership that wasn't
You are right. You are
the
right.
Democrats have this problem. And if you look at that just up the street, there was that race in Tennessee 7.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tennessee 7, closer than we thought. Oh, yeah, Trump won by 22, and they only won by 7. Well, I think Trump's name recognition was a little higher than whatever stooge won that race. Like, it's just, to compare that guy in a special election in the middle of winter, right, who nobody's even heard of, to Donald J. Trump on his triumphal return. First of all, that's an unfair comparison. Second of all, if you read what's going on with what Democrats are saying amongst themselves, they're saying we can never do this again. This was a winnable race, but instead we went in like left-wing lunatics. We nominated a progressive, and there was no way that woman was going to win in Tennessee. That was a winnable race for the Democrats, and frankly, it was.
I don't know. I might disagree with you there. I don't think it was. That's a historically deep red area, that district. But nevertheless, they could have done better. Right.
In midterms and specials, and there are openings, and there's things that could be. I'm just saying, there are things that could have been done. But when I read what the Democrats are saying amongst themselves, is they're saying we cannot nominate left-wing lunatics again. Now, the mainstream media and the national political coverage was progressive left-wing lunatic does very, very well. But the people on the ground and the Democratic regulars are saying, we blew it. And that's two different signals. The signal from Bloomberg and the premier donors, which is what Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer and what the Democrats are listening to, is not tied to the base. They haven't learned that their base is leaving them, and they should pay attention to their base. Instead, they're going all out with people who are just not connected. And so, and I think what's going to happen is you're going to have, we've known this for the whole time.
You got about 15 seconds, Neil, just to let you know. Oh, no.
I think the gun rights issue is going to be huge, and that's going to be across all genders, all demographics, all races, all different. The restoration of gun rights is going to be huge, and it'll be very dynamic for Trump and the Republicans.
Neil, we're going to bring you back next week and next week and next week. I can't wait to have you on the program. Welcome home, my friend. That's the great Neil McCabe from redstate.com. Armed American Radio's Monstercast continues with AWR right after the break. Thank you, Neil. Guys, we'll be back with AWR Hawkins in about 3.5 minutes. And I apologize in advance for the rumble, but that's been an ongoing hassle for the last few days. But we are just about where we need to be there with the setup. So thank you for your patience. We appreciate it. Everything else should be running just fine. Coming back at you guys. We gauge how fast the show's going to move based on how fast the breaks are going. These breaks are flying, so buckle in, folks. AWR coming up right now.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier, the voice of reason on KQAM, Wichita's Big Talker, and you're tuned into the Armed American Radio Network. Now let's get back to the man himself, Mark Walters.
Let me get my mic live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast continues here in the Kahr Firearms Group studios. Mark Walters in front of this powerful CZ USA microphone here at the Patriot Mobile Ranch. All of it brought to you by the National Rifle Association. It's a great time to tell you real quick, please do some of your Christmas shopping at Armed American Radio. Visit all of our fantastic partners and sponsors over there, won't you please? That includes Bud's Gun Shop. Anything you need, you don't have to leave your house. Bud's has got it going on, all the clearance, all the Christmas specials, all the discounts. Head over there and buy something from them. Support the businesses that support this voice on the airwaves for all of these years. Firearms industry's having a tough time. We'll talk about that throughout the program coming up in the next couple of hours, no doubt. But it's easy for us. Just support them. It's real simple. We've got some great ones over there. Goat Guns, goatguns.com, budsgunshop.com. Okay? Great place to pick up gifts for the gun lovers in your family. Crossbreed Holster. Got a new gun? Need a new holster? Crossbreed's got you covered. You get the idea. Heaven's Harvest. Have some food supplies on hand, ladies and gentlemen. We dug into some of the dried fruit just this past weekend. It's great for snacks. Love that stuff. HeavensHarvest.com. More about all of our great partners coming up throughout the next couple and a half hours. Let's go now over to AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News, our good friend. AWR, where did you graduate college? Where'd you graduate college?
Ahead. Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. Now, I'm a big Texas Tech fan because of you and your family over the years. What did we do this weekend? I just have to give you the microphone on this one. Go ahead.
Well, we won the Big 12 championship. We beat BYU, which I'm going to be honest is a great team. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. Excellent team. I was nervous about playing them twice in the same season, but we managed to roll them up and to dominate them 34-7, and we are the Big 12 champs. So it's pretty awesome.
And you had a birthday the day before, so it's been quite the weekend for you. So happy birthday to AWR Hawkins. Maybe when we come back, I'll sing it for him. You never know. I might. I should have done it now, but I didn't. That's okay. Happy birthday, AWR. We love you, man. Fan favorite for all the right reasons, and congratulations on that huge win at your alma mater. Let's just start with sickness and disease that's out there in America, and your story that's up today. That just went up today, actually, at about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock Eastern time. Florida teens accused of fatally shooting 14-year-old. And ladies and gentlemen, if that's not bad enough, they then set her body on fire. Now, AWR, these people, the left will rule this as teen gun violence and lock this into, guns are the number one killer of teens. They're going to use these statistics, but what they fail to tell you is stories like this, that this is just sheer, pure evil on earth. I can find no other way to describe it after reading. What happened here?
Right. Well, what happened is this girl allegedly slighted them, one of them by saying something that he thought was negative, and the other by blocking a social media account.
Ooh.
So they allegedly shot her, and they meant to shoot her one time, but one of the individuals was so mad, apparently, he shot her more than once, and they killed her with the gunshots, and then they set her body on fire. So that's what happened. I mean, it's unbelievable. You're talking about a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old doing this to a 14-year-old.
Santa Rosa County Sheriff Bob Johnson said, and I quote from your piece, "It's bad enough you kill a 14-year-old. You're 14. You're 16. Shoot her multiple times, and then they set her on fire." And then he added, as you write, "You don't want to go out to see a burnt child with bullet holes. That is not something you sign up for." And sadly, in today's sick society, with the cultural decay in this country, it is what they signed up for, because it's not the only time it's happened. And you can look at, now let's make a comparison here, AWR. It's a good place to segue. Because the gang violence in Chicago that you and I have covered for years and years together on this program, now a decade, the vast majority of that crime is this age group. The vast majority is this age group. So this is a clear sickness, a clear breakdown of something. I don't pretend to have the answer there. I don't know. We've discussed it ad nauseum on this program for years. But isn't it indicative of something else going on?
Right. Well, it is. And I'll tell you what, though. Kudos to Sheriff Johnson, because he wants to try these folks as adults. And that's what needs to happen. And I'll be honest with you. What needs to happen, if they're found guilty, I'm not jumping ahead of the game. Right now, everything is alleged. But if they are found guilty of this heinous crime, they need to be executed by the state. And if you could execute a couple of folks like this, if they did it, then that sends a clear message that, hey, just stay home in your parents' basement like you're accustomed to, playing PlayStation or whatever you do. But don't take it out into the real world, because if you do, you will die. And, I mean, this is just, it's crazy. Set a kid on fire. I can't even go into, I really can't. I can't go into what I would do with these boys had that been my daughter. I won't go into it, but trust me, the state executing them would be an easier way out. That's all I'll say.
No, I every father listening out there, I guarantee feels the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a photograph of these two. And it's unusual because you generally don't see that. They generally hide that. Now, I believe Florida will take the path that you are talking about, as that, well, they should. And that is try these two scumbags as adults. There is no excuse for this. And it is proof positive, ladies and gentlemen, at this age, they know exactly what they're doing. So maybe tried as adults, they escape the death penalty because of their age. I don't know. I'm not convinced Florida will allow that to happen because the crime is so heinous. But you bring social media into this, okay? And when you and I were younger, you bullied, you punched back. You both got suspension after school and more than likely became friends afterwards. I'm referring to a situation that happened with me and a kid named Vincent. And the two of us became good friends after that, but we battled it out and got in school or after school suspension as a result. Never thought about killing anybody ever. We all had guns. It never crossed our minds. Ladies and gentlemen, the sickness in this country starts, I believe, and I hold these phones up, but I believe that social media is doing incredible damage to the psyche of this nation. They got mad because somebody blocked her she blocked somebody on social media. Ooh, let's kill her and burn her alive and burn her body. It's despicable, it's disgusting, and it's indicative of something far greater going on in this nation. We'll move on to something else, and I'll go over to Bondi, because Bondi's in the news a lot this week, and a lot of it's been flying underneath the radar. You covered it. We'll be talking about it in the next hour. But Bondi put a tweet out just recently in an X-Post on Friday that the Second Amendment is not a second-class right, emphasizing that was Trump DOJ's position. But there's still a lot of people on the pro-gun side going after Bondi. So there's like a mixed bag of messages here. What's your thoughts here? Can you tell us and enlighten us as to what you think is going on?
Well, I mean, I think Bondi's pro 2A. I think that you can look up some videos and find some past statements she made many years ago, and you can say, well, look at that video. You can do that, but you can do that with a lot of people. You could look at some of Trump's views before his first term, and you could do similar things. But the proof is in the pudding, and, you've seen Bondi defend the Second Amendment. You've seen not only defend it, but her DOJ actually take pro-gun arguments to court and take part in briefings on behalf of pro-gun rights. You've seen now the formation of the Second Amendment rights section in the Civil Rights Division.
That's right.
It's on and on. And we've needed that. I mean, everybody with half a brain knows that when the civil rights are listed, the civil rights of Americans, it doesn't just include the rights of the First, Fifth Amendment, but also
the Second Amendment. You are correct. AWR Hawkins. We'll be right back with you. Your phone's dropping out a little bit, but perfect timing because we're getting ready to take a break. Armed American Radio's Monstercast continues. We've got one more segment. Guys, buckle in. It's flying by today, I'm telling you. Enjoy what's left of your break, and it's just getting started. We'll be right back.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, folks. Do you recall a couple weeks back, Greg, I know you do, when we had Joey Hamby, the attorney, on, and we from Attorneys on Retainer at the Freedom Law Group, right? Attorneys for Freedom Law Firm, I should say. Let me get that right. And we were talking about that weird case up in Prescott, Arizona, where the guy was charged with, all those crimes for brandishing a gun, and it turns out that it was the fire chief or something. Remember that?
Yeah.
There's been a huge development in that.
Oh, wow, really?
A huge development. And all I can tell you is we're going to have Joey Hamby. Hopefully he'll be on the show with us next week. I tried to work him in this week, but the schedule was already too tight, and I couldn't do it with Neil's return. So we're going to have Joey on next week. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When you hear, I wish he was on because we would be talking about this right now, but we will talk about it next week. So there's your teaser. If you don't have this card in your wallet, you are making a huge, huge mistake. Well into six figures, and it could be far more. Far more. You'll find out more details because I want to focus on that case out of Arizona. So I'll hold on to that for now. But you can visit their website at attorneysonretainer.us, and you can watch the videos and get a leg up and a jump on what we're going to be talking about next week. But all I can tell you is attorneysonretainer.us. Use the promo code AAR, folks. We've got a new website. We're not ready to go live with it yet, hopefully in the next couple of days, but it's beautiful. I've seen it. It's gorgeous. You'll love it. All of the information is there for you. You need this card in your wallet. It is $35 for a team of attorneys. If, God forbid, you find yourself in a situation like this kid did out in Arizona, you don't want to be there without these guys. I can promise you that. You'll lose everything, and it's not necessary. Attorneysonretainer.us has your back, and up to 4 attorneys, God forbid, you have to go to trial. Think of that as your dream team. Those of you who are old enough know exactly what I'm talking about. 4 attorneys, it's $35 for 4 attorneys, not $35 a piece a month, ladies and gentlemen. $35. That includes everything necessary to go to trial in your defense. No brainer. Take care of it. If you're on the fence, great Christmas gift for yourself and your family. Just do it. AWR Hawkins, welcome back, brother.
Good to be with you.
All right, so real quick, I want to close out with Bondi. I don't fear Bondi. I've made that very clear on the program. There's some things, I'm very well aware of what she said in the past. We've covered it for years at the time when she was saying the things that bothered us. But I understand where you're going with that, and this is no doubt the most pro-gun administration we've ever had. I'm not going to agree with everything. I'm not going to tell you that I do. But nonetheless, it's hard to say that it's not. And when the administration is putting out tweets such as this, the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. After the prior administration's campaign to infringe on Americans' gun rights, the Justice Department is strongly committed to undoing the damage, including just last week filing our first ever Supreme Court brief arguing for public carry. The new Second Amendment unit within our Civil Rights Division, as you were just referring to, AWR, will advance President Trump's pro-2A amendment, pro-Second Amendment agenda and protect the right to bear arms for all. So I'll leave it at that unless you want to add anything to that, and then we'll move on.
No, I think it speaks for itself.
It really, truly does, ladies and gentlemen. But let's talk about that Civil Rights Division real quick, because I think the impact of this is going to be lost on a lot of folks. And you do have a separate story up. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to read it. Trump DOJ adding Second Amendment rights section to Civil Rights Division. You were breaking up a little bit when we were closing out that last segment, but you were talking about how civil rights are not just first, and I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, everybody thinks civil rights. They think, my voting rights, my free speech, my right to assemble. They think about my right to have private property without undue government interference, to be secure in my person's houses, papers, and effects. Well, they also need to think about my right to self-defense, my right to keep and bear arms. These are also civil rights. We've known that intuitively, but a DOJ has failed to step up and say, look, folks, we're going to set the record straight. And that's exactly what Trump's DOJ is doing. And that's why I say I love what Bondi's doing. And when she says that Second Amendment rights are not second-class rights, she's spot on. And if that is the thesis of the paper that Trump's DOJ is going to write and defend, then I'm all in.
Something interesting, it begs this question. Let's assume that for some weird reason, a Democrat loser makes it into office in the next election in 2028. How difficult will it be for that administration to pull back on something like this after it's already been put in place? Can you imagine the public outcry? And the reason I say this, ladies and gentlemen, is it will be virtually impossible for them to do it. They will literally have to eat this, AWR, because if they do it, the response from Americans will be overwhelming. So this is, this is Trump just putting the Democrats right back on their heels, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's using their own game against them. Everything's a civil right. Everything's a civil right, and once you recognize it as such, it makes it unassailable. And so that's what he's doing with Second Amendment rights. But he's not doing this. What he's doing, I want to say, he's not creating a new civil right. He's recognizing a civil right that's been there from the get-go, and that's what we need to understand. It should have always been this way. Mm-hmm. And that's why I appreciate what Bondi and the DOJ are doing.
I'll leave it at that. One more story I got here for you. It looks like we're going to have perfect timing. The Associated Press put a piece out. I spoke with John Lott about this, tried to squeeze him in today too, ladies and gentlemen. Spoke with him right before the show. He'll be on next week, or later this week anyway. Experts warn that 2-year 44% decline in mass killings is not necessarily cause for optimism. They can't give credit where it's due, can they?
No, they can't. And
good Lord.
And
why we're here, folks.
They even use the phrase mass killings instead of mass shootings, so that they could have a broader category and elevate the number as much as possible. But it's just the same song, a different verse. And these folks, what they want to do is present as much gun violence as they can in hopes of getting what they cannot get, which is more gun control under Trump. It's just not going to happen. And I love it. And what I love is for the thoughtful reader who reads the AP. I only read the AP because I have to. I mean, I just do. But for the thoughtful reader who accidentally reads the AP, you're going to immediately go, these people are crazy. They should be praising the lower numbers, 44% decline over the last 2 years. But instead of praising it, they're saying, hey, it could turn on the dime. It could go right back where it was. And they're not asking what could have contributed to this. Could it have been the fact that Trump has gotten serious on law and order, that he has gotten serious on cracking down on crime, that gun crimes are being penalized at with a higher penalty, with a longer crime sentence,
with a vengeance.
Yeah, they're not asking those. Those are the right questions. That's the question you ask. Instead of saying this could flip around and go back where it was, you need to say, well, what is causing this? And in addition to everything I said, not to take away from Trump in any way, you have more people carrying than ever before. You have 29 constitutional carry states. And with 29 constitutional carry states and hack groups like Gifford saying we were going to have blood in the streets, blah, 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 blah. No. Just the opposite. Mass killings have plummeted.
Yeah, and you have you're right.
It's common sense.
It is.
When you know people are going to shoot back, you're tempted not to shoot in the first place.
You better believe it, ladies and gentlemen. AWR Hawkins, we're getting ready to pull out of this hour. Thank you, brother, for everything. Folks, go read this article. I don't have enough time. I'm going to run up against the break, but the Northeastern University professor who did the study, James Allen Fox, made a real boneheaded comment when asked by the AP about his own study, quoting Sir Isaac Newton. You won't believe it, but you will believe it. We'll be back 6 minutes after the hour. Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, for the hour. Don't go away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets. We have a lot to cover with him, and I do not know that we're going to get it all in. I'm hopeful that we can. We can never get it all in when it comes to Neil McCabe. That's just a given. With AWR, we got pretty lucky there. We actually fit it right in up to the last second. With Jarid, so much to cover. So much to cover. Hey, have you voted for me yet in the Gundies? Armed American Radio is nominated for Top Voices of the 2A. Top Voices of the 2A. It's real easy to do. Visit thegundies, GUNDIES.com, thegundies.com, and vote for us in that category. And if you are so inclined, and I hope you are, You can do that every single day up through the 15th of this month. In addition to that, you can watch the 34-second Palmetto Armory video, which is really cool, by the way, and that gives you another 19 votes. So you get 19 votes because there's 19 categories. So you go through your categories, have fun. Just vote for us in Armed American Radio in the Top Voices of the 2A category. Much appreciated for that. And, for example, Jarid Yanis, we'll talk about that with him coming up, is also nominated for King of the Hill. Yeah, King of the Hill, and he is King of the Hill. So toss a vote over there for him, okay? We'll talk about all that coming up in the next hour, about the Gundys and all the fun stuff. We have a lot of fun going back with some of the videos we send to each other as we're voting each and every day. But I would really appreciate it if you could support us for Top Voices of the 2A. Visit there, thegundys.com, Gundies. Give us your vote. We appreciate it. And vote again. That's the only time I'll ever ask you to act like a Democrat, okay? Vote early and vote often. You can do it up through the 15th. You're not breaking any rules like they do. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back at 6 minutes after the hour with Jarid Yanis from Guns and Gadgets. All right, guys, back live with you. Let's rock and roll. Buckle in. Gonna fly by.
American Radio, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting for your rights. Mark Walters.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Armed American Radio's Hour 2, busting out on hundreds of radio stations across the nation. Mark Walters here at the Kahr Firearms Group studios in front of this very powerful CZ USA microphone here at the Patriot Mobile Ranch. Of course, it's all being brought to you by the Great National Rifle Association. You can join them at our website. All of our great partners. You can find them all there. National Rifle Association. .org/AAR and take advantage of all the discounts. And I want to take this opportunity before we get cracking here to point out, many of you are wondering, where's the range bags and everything? Guys, the NRA is so backed up. I mean, it just swamped them. So hang in there, all right? They're coming. They are shipping. Some have gotten them. Others are, you're in line. They're coming. I promise you, they are on their way to you. And a lot of fun stuff getting ready to pop over at the National Rifle Association as well. We'll be talking about that, no doubt, over the coming few months. I can promise you. Greg in Dallas, we are live on Facebook.com/Armed American Radio if you want to watch us over there. Our Rumble feed in the studio is coming in under a different studio, so you're probably not going to find it if you're not subscribed to that one. That's a mistake on our end, by the way, but we'll have that corrected for you tomorrow. So we'll be back up on your regular Rumble channel there, our regular Rumble channel there for you tomorrow. Greg, I'll let you take it away from there, and then we'll go to our guest, Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets.
Yeah, sure. You can also watch the show over on YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. Over on X, we're at AAR Mark. You can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And lastly, to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
That'll do it. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get started. Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, my hero, the legend, the myth, the man. Here he is. What's up, brother?
How we doing, buddy? Hey, congratulations on your nomination for your Gundy.
Hey, congratulations on your nomination for a Gundy. So let's just get this out of the way now and tell people, because you and I have been having fun with this. Guys, every time I take a video of myself voting for Jarid and Guns and Gadgets, and I send it to him, with the video. Here we go, round 2, round 3 for the day. Boom. And he's loving it, sending back and forth. But let's talk a little bit about that. Guys, you can visit thegundys.com, Gundies. You can vote for myself, top voices of the 2A category, and of course you can vote for Jarid over at King of the Hill category. Have you won one of those over there yet?
I haven't won the King of the Hill yet. I think they're going to put us all on a hill, and like we were kids, we got to just keep throwing each other off, and the last man standing is going to win. I don't know how that's going to work.
I think your description of it is apt. I got to be honest with you. I'm floating over there with Mark Smith, and he won that last year. It's going to be tough to topple Mark Smith. There's no question. But I'm sure you would say too. I'm honored to have been nominated, guys. It's as simple as that. So, throw your hat at us in the ring. We would appreciate that. Maybe we can knock Mark off. And of course, Mark's a good friend, been a guest on the show many times. But the Gundies, Gundies.com. All right, King of the Hill, let's go here. You have got a lot of information here over at your website. And guys, if you're not subscribing to Guns and Gadgets yet, you need to be. You're up to 771,000 subscribers. You've got over 4.2 or 4.1 thousand videos. And your videos just kill it. So, guys, let's help him get to 1 million, okay? Go over there, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notified when he puts this information out. Your videos run what? On average, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes, something like that?
Yeah, that's pretty much the sweet spot of them.
And just chock full of information. So we're going to hit on some of those right now. How about we start with, this one goes back about a month, but it is critically important, as you pointed out. And I don't think you and I have talked about this one on air yet. Mandatory gun confiscation. Pay attention. New law mandates gun confiscation. This is out of New York, ladies and gentlemen. Jared's going to explain it. Your blood is about to boil. We haven't talked about this on the show yet. Take it away. This is infuriating.
Sure. So New York is one of those states that had passed a red flag law when it was cool. It was, right during actually the push for all this stuff really caught speed during Trump's first term, where a lot of states were pushing red flag laws. And New York had one, and they took an opportunity, like many of us who fight for our rights regularly kind of could see that once they get one in, they'll just continue to tweak it and take more and more rights away. And for those who aren't aware of what a red flag law is, it's basically the state taking away your property, your firearms, without you being charged of a crime, without you being found guilty of a crime. You're not convicted of anything. They just take it on the whim of another. And New York did something different. They decided that they would make it mandatory for law enforcement to take the firearms for everybody in the household if a victim says they're in fear or if the police think that the weapons need to be removed. Now, a lot of people will say, yeah, that's cool. We should keep people safe. But we need to remember that the ends can never justify the means. We should never stand for people's constitutionally guaranteed rights to be violated for one or two people if it'll help one or two people. Because there are a lot of people that get caught up and have their rights violated. And, you know, there are a lot of people who say, well, Jared, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, for 24 years, I was a police officer, and I responded to thousands and thousands of domestic calls, and a vast majority of them are legitimate, where the victim, whether it's male or female or, you know, brother or sister, whatever it is, family member, they have nobody else to turn to, so they call law enforcement. That's fine. We all understand that. And the system, there is a system, you know, that's set up to address that. But you don't have a right to be free from fear. You don't have a right to be safe, but you do have a right to keep yourself safe. And we need to remember that. And this law is taking more of the citizens of New York's rights away without any conviction of law, without any trial by jury. It violates the Fourth Amendment in ways that New York never did. And there are states, people listening across the country will say, well, my state already does that. Well, this is a little different. In every other state, they will remove firearms from the perpetrator if, say, there is a domestic violence restraining order or a judge, puts that in a ruling, and the judge orders it. This is something different. If someone just says, I'm afraid, then the police would be mandated to take everybody's guns, everybody's weapons. And then if you go further and you drill down the statistics in New York, statewide, just short of 34% of domestic homicides were committed with a firearm. So that's a whole lot that weren't. And most of them were cutting instruments, knives, stuff like that. They don't do anything about the knives, which is a vast majority of these incidents. They only are targeting the firearms. So again, I just ask people to know your rights, to think outside the box. Why are they trying to do this? What is their end goal? And if you are that type of thinker, you should be fired up right now.
Okay, I think you are spot on. But a lot of questions here. You spent 24 years as a police officer, so you know this. As you said, you've been on these calls countless times, thousands of times, you said. And you're right. I think, probably the majority of them are legit. But let's go to the mindset of the officer in New York State. Just like, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but when we talk about a red flag law, you've got a judge who's got a complaint that's ex parte, ladies and gentlemen. That means that if you're the victim of this complaint, you don't even know this is happening behind you. You're not participating in this. The complaint is made against you. There is a hearing without your knowledge where a judge makes a decision to take your firearms, and you're not invited, folks. Okay, this is why we fight these things. Because let's face facts. I don't know about you, Jared, but in your career as a police officer, did you ever run into maybe an upset spouse that maybe just decided to make an accusation against somebody because they didn't like them?
Absolutely, more often than you would believe. And divorce proceedings, it's actually in most states, it's actually like something they tell you to do. Is, you know what? Let's go after the guns. Let's make him look like a bad person. Let's get a restraining order on him.
Yeah, you got to hate somebody to do that, ladies and gentlemen, and that is out there. It happens all the time. Examples of that abound. They're everywhere. But the judge, in my estimation, is always going to err on the side of caution. The judge is being forced to do so. I don't think any judge wants to be the judge that didn't, and then something tragic happened. Then they're going after the judge. So the judge is always going to err on the side of caution. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to take your guns. Period. Now, let's move that to the cop, the individual cop who's there in New York. There's a lot of overzealous cops out there. You can watch them all over YouTube. They're everywhere.
30.
All right, so I'm going to take this to the break, Jared. When you come back, I want to go here with you. So bear with me for just a second. So, ladies and gentlemen, put yourself in that cop's position. Maybe he's not an overzealous cop. Maybe he's as fair and straight up as the day is long, or she. That cop's going to err on the side of caution. because they don't want anybody to find out that they didn't take the guns when state law mandates it under certain conditions. Folks, they're going to get your guns. And when we come back, we'll ask Jared from a law enforcement perspective if that comparison between the judge and the officer is correct. And then I'm going to go down the road, man. A lot of people might not want me to go down, but we're going to talk about that overzealous cop that's just eating it up. He's taking your guns because he can, because he doesn't like them. Well, he's got a gun, and you shouldn't have one. They're out there, folks. We'll be back with Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, right after this. Don't go away.
Correct.
Segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kahr Firearms Group Studios. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom today and every day. If you're listening on any of our hundreds of affiliates across the nation, we appreciate it. Welcome back. And if you're just joining us for the second hour, welcome in. We do appreciate that very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You can find all of our great partners that make this show possible 6 days a week at armedamericanradio.com, armedamericanradio.com. Support them. Great Christmas gifts there. You can get all your Christmas shopping done for the gun lover and your family over at armedamericanradio.com. Goat guns make great guns. Make great guns. Goat guns make great gifts. Lots of G's in there. We'll get that out. And, of course, budsgunshop.com, Heaven's Harvest, Crossbreed Holsters, Kahr Arms, CZ USA. They're all there for you. Patriots Relief is over there. Make sure to check them out. I've got 2 jars of it here. I use it every single day. If it works for me, it'll likely work for you. So make sure to check them out. That's over at armedamericanradio.com. All of it being, of course, brought to you by the NRA. Please join us, nra.org/AAR. Take advantage of all the great discounts and get in this fight, ladies and gentlemen. It is imperative that you do. Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets. Jared, I made that comparison between the cop and the judge. And anybody who's ever watched YouTube videos of overzealous cops, they're out there. It's sad, but they're out there. They're not the majority of cops by any stretch. But is my comparison as in, let me use my cousin Vinny. Does my comparison hold water? Does it hold water?
Mr. Gambini, what is a ute? Yeah, it does. It does hold water. A judge, not many judges are going to, like you said, go out on a limb and risk being a headline if they say don't take this person's guns and then that person does, commit a murder. But when it comes to law enforcement, you're not going to have many, if any, police at all who are going to say it's mandatory that I do action A, but I'm not going to do it because I disagree with it. And that puts us in a spot where, and I said this in that video, and a lot of people who are newer to the channel thought I was being anti-cop, and this isn't. This is pro-America. A vast majority of our legislators are attorneys, and attorneys, just like me as a street cop, I didn't know, what an attorney does, how their job operates. I had an idea because I was in court all the time, but I wouldn't go defend somebody. But at the same time, attorneys don't know how laws are actually put to practice on the street. So, you have people, whether it's Capitol Hill or in your state government, pass these laws because they sound great. They sound phenomenal. And maybe the end goal might, be something we all have as a goal for America to make it safer. But they don't understand the actual, the way it's going to be employed. So there's not going to be a cop who's going to say, I don't want my paycheck. Yeah. I don't want to be able to take care of my kids. There's a couple who have left the job for those reasons, but we wouldn't have any of the gun control, the blatant constitutional violations that we have today if law enforcement didn't enforce them. They can pass any law they want, but ultimately they have to be enforced. So you're not going to have cops, like you said, that are not going to enforce this because it's now mandatory.
I've used this example on the show over the years many times. I've been pulled over a couple times, and after spending many years in the state of Florida, very gun friendly. Every cop there knows that there's a gun in every car. That's just the automatic assumption because it's likely true. But that attitude is not held in a state like Maryland or a state like New Jersey or a state like New York or Connecticut. Okay, it's a completely different mindset, and those cops grow up, particularly younger cops, grow up in a political climate of gun control in their own states. Now they carry guns. And dare I say, and you, again, correct me if I'm wrong, you have 24 years in background as law enforcement. Those cops are out there. And I don't know if that's a power trip or not. And guys, I support law enforcement 150,000 gobzillion %. But let's be real here, okay? There is a different mindset in these states, is there not? You're going to have a different mindset from a cop in New York than you're going to have in a cop in the state of Florida, for example, or Georgia.
Yeah, generally you will. If a person comes up, growing up in a family that's pro red Nikes, then they're probably going to be more, friendly to people wearing red Nikes. Mm-hmm. And it's the same with guns. If you got somebody who's born and bred in New York City and, they came up through New York's crazy laws and families that don't like it, well, if they happen to become law enforcement, then they're probably going to have that outlook on firearms regardless. And even though they're supposed to call, balls and strikes and do things the way the law requires, sometimes you get people who don't. We've all seen the stories. We've all seen people take it a little too far. And it's not just law enforcement.
Yeah.
Every job in the world has good guys and bad guys, good girls and bad girls. It's just, unfortunately, the few that bring the rest of them down. So, yeah, you're going to have police that are overzealous and take guns when they're not supposed to, or say, I'm going to disarm you for my safety. We've all heard, cases about that. It's unfortunate that law enforcement, when they go through the academies are, even though 6 months long, you can't teach every single law. You just can't do it, So if a cop really wants to be good at their job, they have to be a good self-learner. And you're taught the bare minimum, and unfortunately, some people do a whole 30-year career on the bare minimum.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's true. It's sad, but true. Everybody knows that rock and roll song. Let's move over to Pam Bondi, the Second Amendment Protection Act. Your video, yeah, there you go. Your video was disturbing to me. Look, I made this clear with AWR Hawkins in the previous segment. I do not fear Pam Bondi because I know who her boss is. And I'm aware of the tweet that she just put out on Friday, and I know you are as well. So let's kind of square this up. But it was Bondi's DOJ that just killed, as you did so eloquently in this video, killed the Second Amendment Protection Act in Missouri. So there seems to be a disconnect here. What's going on?
Well, the brass tacks of this is that this Department of Justice under this Attorney General seem to be really quick at telling a certain state whether or not their laws are violating the Second Amendment. For instance, they sued the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, rightfully so, because they were taking years to give people permits, which I think permits are unconstitutional. And they'll tell other states that their assault weapon ban is unconstitutional. Yet they'll defend every single piece of unconstitutional gun control at the federal level. So they're gaslighting us. They're saying the things that we want to hear, but they're not putting those to practice in the courtrooms. And the problem we get a little pushback on our side as advocates is most people aren't paying attention to what happens in the courtroom. They're not reading the docket. They're not reading the cases. They go off of what Twitter says or what Instagram says. So the tough part for us is actually educating people what's really going on and putting pressure on these people. And, we put a lot of pressure on Pam Bondi and Harmony Dillon and the DOJ, and then we got this office to open up, within days of us putting pressure on them in certain spots. I even got the unlucky response of a direct, video put out to counter one of my videos from the DOJ. So they're responding. They are listening. We just need them to listen more and realize that our rights are being violated by the feds, too.
When we come back from this break, ladies and gentlemen, you said unlucky. I think you were lucky with that. I thought that was impressive. And when we come back, we'll go there. And I want to give you a quote, which I know you have, but for the benefit of listeners, I know you know it. But Pam Bondi's tweet, or X post, X formerly known as Twitter, whatever you want to call it, on Friday about the Second Amendment not being a second-class right. And we'll try to square that up with the SAPA, or the Second Amendment Protection Act, and what the DOJ did in the state of Missouri. And again, I don't know that we'll come up with an answer here, but we're going to bring it to you, ladies and gentlemen, and you're smart enough to make up your own mind however you want to make up your mind. Greg will tell you he's of the mindset that meaning Bondi's more concerned about getting Fox News time than putting criminals away that we all want to see in chains. And there's that argument, too. We'll be back with Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, right after this.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher wanting to let you know that the crew of the Desperado Sport Fish in Virginia Beach, Virginia supports Armed American Radio and the Second Amendment, and I'm right there with them. Now back to Mark Walters.
Back indeed inside the Kahr Firearms Group studios with me, Mark Walters, in front of this powerful CZ USA Platinum and powerful microphone here at the Patriot Mobile Command Center, all brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Greg in Dallas, I would ask you to make your mic live right now, but Greg can't because he just ordered a Fratelli's pizza that was delivered to the studio, and he's in there manging right now, and he sent me a picture of it, and it looks so good. I'm very, very jealous. Good heavens, Greg. Yeah, enjoy that. He's picking his teeth over there. He's got a cheese pizza, and the thing looks absolutely delish. Welcome back to the studio. Ooh, great stuff. Let's go back to Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets. Jarid, you ever been to Dallas and had a Fratelli's pizza by any chance?
Been to Dallas, but I haven't had the occasion to go there yet. No.
Okay, now you know. All right. The place is the real deal. All right, so let's go back to the Bondi issue here, and the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. Here's what she tweeted on her post. The Second Amendment is not a second-class right after the prior administration's campaign to infringe on Americans' gun rights. The Justice Department is strongly committed to undoing the damage, including just last week filing our first-ever Supreme Court brief arguing for public carry. The new Second Amendment unit within our Civil Rights Division will advance President Trump's pro-Second Amendment agenda and protect the right to bear arms for all. Isn't that what Missouri was doing with SAPA, with the Second Amendment Protection Act? So
exactly what they were doing.
Okay, so square that for me, because I have a problem with that.
Sure. So like the AG said, they were going to overturn everything that the Biden administration did to us. Well, during the Biden administration, Missouri saw the writing on the wall with all of Biden's rulemaking that went around the Constitution with the ATF. And they said, we're going to stick up for our own citizens like the Constitution says. And we're going to make a law that forbids any city, town, county police or sheriff from using one nickel of any of our money, the state level, to assist the feds on any federal gun control. Didn't say that the feds can't operate here. They just said, you know what, we're not going to help you. Do it yourself. And Biden immediately sued with the previous AG, Merrick Garland. We are so lucky we don't have him on the Supreme Court.
Oh, good heavens. The only thing McConnell did that was worth a pile, let me put it that way.
Yeah, right? It's probably the best freeze he ever did was freezing that.
Exactly. I get that, by the way. Do you, ladies and gentlemen? Go ahead. Sorry. Well put.
But now that, it was still an active case when the Trump administration took over, and many of us thought that, hey, this is going to help us a lot. And, former Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey's a friend of mine, who spoke about this many times. And no, she, in fact, kept up the pressure, continued the fight to sue Missouri based off of the Supremacy Clause. So they're saying that, because the NFA is a thing, then we can just force you to help us. And there's many Supreme Court decisions out there that say, you know what, you can't force a state to do this. You can't force a state to spend their own money on federal controls. There's all kinds of stuff out there that says you can't do it. So they won because the Supreme Court decided not to take up the case. So the Circuit Court, the Appeals Court, said that it was unconstitutional as a violation of the Supremacy Clause. So it stands for now. For now, being the key part. I know the Missouri legislators are already working on a new version of SAPA with language changes that will address those issues that were mentioned by the appellate court. So SAPA hopefully will live again. And then we'll see how the Bondi AG's office responds if and when it's passed in Missouri.
Is there a comparison to be made here? I thought about this, and I'm going to try to find a way to articulate this. You might be able to help me out if I don't get it out right. But as I was watching your video on this, I went back and rewatched it earlier because this popped into my head. Is there a comparison to be made here about states saying they're not going to enforce or help the federal government enforce immigration law as well? You're chuckling there. So did you pick up on that as well?
Absolutely. It was things we were saying all along, like you can't force a state to help out ICE. We're seeing that now, right? We're seeing states that have legalized marijuana, even though it's federally illegal. And the feds have said, you know what, we're not even going to go down that route. You guys handle it. We're not going to really go crazy on it. So the only thing they care about is the Second Amendment. We can't let you protect that.
Yeah.
there's so many issues with this that people just need to be aware of. And like you said, going to the break, I'm not telling you what you need to think or how you need to operate. I just want you to know what's happening, and then you can make your own decisions and be better educated because of it.
Well, that's why your channel is there. Ladies and gentlemen, again, let me go ahead and push this. If you are not subscribed to Guns and Gadgets, you're doing yourself a disservice. Please do that. And when you watch the videos, hit the little bell down there, okay, so get notificated like I do. Oh, let's make up a new word. We do that here. Get notificated like we do, all right? We get notificated every time he has a video come out, and these, guys, it just opens your eyes and gives you a different perspective. Jared's very, very good at what he does. That's why he's got close to 1 million. Let's help him get to 1 million. There are a lot of disconnects here. There really, truly are. And it is hard to put your finger on this. But what it does is it opens up Bondi to a lot of attacks from those on our side when they see stuff like this and they wonder why. And sadly, Jared, I don't think we'll ever get the answer from the DOJ as to why they're doing some of the things that they're doing. We're just being told, trust us, right? But
gaslighting.
Yeah, do we ever trust? No, we never trust. You don't trust anybody. Trust but verify, I guess it was Reagan that said. And the other thing, too, I did want to point out, you said unlucky about, being recognized by the White House. I thought that was great that you were recognized by the White House, and I would call that lucky. And I know why you say it the way you said it. But I would throw that back and say, man, that was very cool. They are watching, and they are paying attention. This is the same DOJ, and this is the same press secretary, by the way, that held up AWR's story on Chicago killings at a press conference. Okay, so they're watching us, ladies and gentlemen. They are paying attention to what we're saying, so it's important. They're listening here. I know they are. Jared, let's go over to gun dealers under attack. Oh, boy. Again? For real? For real?
Yeah. Never ends, man. It never ever ends.
Never stops.
It's just a different head of the departments, that's all. It's the departments are still the same, it's just a different head.
Yeah, but what's happening?
Well, when I say they, it's, the anti-gun politicians, and they're on both sides of the aisles. They just, for whatever reason, they want to minimize the amount of locations that we have in this country where people can go and buy a firearm and thus, exercise their right to keep their arms. For some reason, they have a problem with that. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. Do you think of why they would want to do that?
Well, yeah, I can, depending on who the administration is. We saw that clear as day under the Biden administration with the zero tolerance policy from the ATF. We knew exactly what they were doing. We could see the ingredients in the pot, and we knew what they were trying to cook with it. And they were very effective at it because those revocations were up, 400 to 700% or something stupid like that during the Biden administration. And I thought and wanted to feel that we had seen the end of that, which is why I was very concerned. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, again, watch the video, Gun Dealers Under Attack, the dangerous plan you must see. So this is a good place to segue as we go into a break. Gun dealers. I was just at I just picked up a gun from Kahr that was shipped to me about a week ago. I just picked it up a couple days ago, Jared. I walked in, the gun shop is bare. What were 4 cases is now 2 cases. The floor is empty. I went right up the street, literally 100 yards away behind them to my other gun shop, and I noticed the same thing. I'm not, and I'm believing my lying eyes. They told me that 95% of their Black Friday sales were range time, that their sales were the worst they've ever had. AWR is reporting 165,000 NICS checks on Black Friday. I have not gone back and looked at and squared that with what we had previous years, so I can't make that comparison live on the air. I'd be remiss if I did. I don't have that number. Maybe I can find it during the break. But nonetheless, it was bad. Is it like that in your neck of the woods, too? You can take us to the music.
In Tennessee, from the couple of FFLs I talk to regularly, sales have been good for the Black Friday sale. However, they are down. They're definitely experiencing the Trump slump 2.0.
Yeah, and that number, guys, perfect timing. That number is about 40% industry-wide down. And as you could just hear from Jared, doesn't appear to be that way in Tennessee, but just south of him on this border in Georgia is pretty gnarly, to use a California surfer slang word. It's pretty gnarly, and it was in both shops I was in. What's it like where you're at? Let us know in the comments on the chat and everything else. We'll be back. One more segment to go. Guys, we are buzzing right along. I can't believe we're already at the end of the second hour. Good heavens. Be right back with you in 4 minutes.
Gonna have to get some water to wash this down.
Get you a Gatorade, man. Oh, man, this
Yeah, we don't
hour
have
is
those.
flying by, ladies and gentlemen. Roundtable coming up at 6 after.
If you own a firearm, you know that a self-defense incident can happen anytime. That's why you need Attorneys on Retainer. They're the only self-defense program backed by real attorneys who specialize in self-defense cases. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Yeah, I would hope that you would do that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm holding up the card on camera here if you're watching on your devices. And if you are watching on your devices, or if you are watching on your television sets or wherever you're getting the show, please don't watch while you're driving. Don't be that person. You can hear us, and I'll play that theater of the mind for you. But Jarid can tell us about Attorneys on Retainer as well. In fact, I'll let him do that because Jarid is also a partner, sponsor, member with Attorneys on Retainer as well. Jarid, jump back in with me. I pitch this every week. This is, to me, just a stupid no-brainer. I've never seen anything like this before. It is one of the smartest things that an individual that carries a gun every day can do for themselves and their family is to have an attorney on retainer, and I'm pretty sure you would agree with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're the only group out there that works in every single state, including New York City. You name it, they will cover you as long as you are defending yourself lawfully and legally. They will defend you, and they're not going to drop your case. They're not going to say no because it's ugly or it's in the news. And I've met all of the attorneys there. They're all bulldogs. All they do is self-defense cases. They're the best in the country.
Yeah, they are. Joey Hamby's on the show fairly regularly. He's going to be on the show with us next week talking about that utterly bizarre case up in Prescott, Arizona, which is just mind-boggling. Now, I think you and I are both going to be together. Well, I'll probably see you at SHOT, and then again, I'll see you in February at the Attorneys on Retainer annual convention as well. So let's be fair. My promo code is AAR, Attorneys on Retainer. .us AAR. What is your promo code for the same thing, guys? If you love Jared and hate me, please, it doesn't matter to me. What's your promo code? Let's get it out there.
GNG, and join before the end of the year. You lock in the pricing for now because they are going up on January.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and right now it's $35, so it's a perfect time to do it.
Perfect time.
Believe me, you use the AAR promo code, use the GNG, whatever you do, just do this, okay? That's what this is for, you. It's that simple. All right, Jared, let's go to SCOTUS here. Wow. You know, I can't believe I haven't been thrown off the air. My mom can't believe I haven't been thrown off the air over 17 years on the nation's airwaves for saying something that I shouldn't have said. I've never lost a station affiliate ever in 17 years because of something I said. Only format flips, stuff like that. But boy, when I start talking about SCOTUS and the fact that they haven't yet taken one of these cases, it is really, really hard for me to maintain my FCC friendliness from time to time. And the frustration, I know you feel the frustration too, and I sense it in your videos. I was just on Cam and Company last week. We were talking about this very issue. And you have a video up from 5 days ago. SCOTUS moves on 5 huge 2A cases. I want to know how you feel about these cases and what you think is getting ready to happen, knowing and understanding, ladies and gentlemen, that neither of us here can get inside the heads of the justices, okay? And that's been proven time and time again. But we can bring you at least a somewhat educated guess is the best we can do. I would love to hear your educated guess and an explanation of what you think is getting ready to happen here, because we're back at conference again this week.
Yeah. I think that they being the Supreme Court, they're actually going to take up the felon in possession cases. I think they're going to redefine, or not redefine, that's a bad choice of verbiage, but address that you can't just ban everybody for the rest of their life because they did something 20 years ago, that they'll actually look at them on an individual case-by-case basis. And this would be a pathway for hundreds of thousands of people who did something like a non-violent felony, like, I don't know, not return library books or whatever, that they could get their rights back. I think they're going to do that because they have a couple of cases on that same topic. I also, in my heart of hearts, I really want them to, and I believe they will, take up a magazine case and an AR case. Specifically, Duncan out of California. Mm-hmm. It's a case that they smacked back to them back in 2022 after Bruin, when they said, you know what, text, history, and tradition is your test. Go back and redo it in light of this test. And California basically just flipped them the bird. So the case is now back, and I think it's an opportunity for them to have some teeth to their rulings and set these radical courts straight. So I think they're going to take up those. I hope so. Supreme Court, for whatever reason, takes about 2% of the cases. They get a year. This court, for the last 20 or 30 years, takes up half the cases as their predecessors. So, the odds are not in our favor if you're a Katniss Everdeen fan, but I really do think they're going to take up probably 2 of the cases that are before them this term.
Do you see a possibility of combining of a magazine capacity and maybe a Connecticut case or Cook County case as an assault weapon ban? It would seem to be a natural fit. I don't know that will happen. I would love to see, and as we all know, Kavanaugh, folks, if you've been paying attention to the show or you follow any of this, and many of you do around the country, you know that Kavanaugh signaled that they are ready to take a case in the next term or 2. Well, here we are. And both of these cases are ripe. And you and I have talked about it before. It's an interlocutory case. There's a lot going on. But again, I feel really optimistic about this, but I was optimistic about the Fourth Circuit too. So,
Yeah, same.
Right. And
I think they're going to.
Because we want to be. We want one of these cases. One of these cases has to be heard. And I know the court knows that, and that's why Kavanaugh signaled that. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think they're going to combine. It'd be easier for them to combine a couple of cases and just smack them all down at the same time. They've done that in the past too, with cases that they had a lot of different opinions, we'll say, in the different circuits, and they were able to address them all under one ruling. I do think that will happen. I, though, am not a fan of 4D chess. I don't think the court says no to a case today because they know it's coming 4 years down the line and they'll know who the president will be and what the makeup of the court will be. I don't believe any of that, so I think now is the time. We have the most Second Amendment friendly makeup of the court we've ever had. I know it's hard to hear that and believe that when they say no to some of these cases, but that is the fact. You know, we won't have an Alito, we won't have a Thomas much longer, so we need to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, you are spot on about that, and that again begs questions of why hasn't this been done before? And I can't go back and cry over spilt milk, okay? But that Fourth Circuit case was just perfect, and I think that's why Kavanaugh did what he. So that leads me to believe there's something underlying going on. The fact that he came out with that statement afterwards because he knew that this was being watched across the country. So I feel positive about it. I don't think it's going to linger for much longer. Jared, we're getting ready to end this hour, brother. It flew right by because you are so fun to have on the show. Thank you for being here. I can't wait to bring you back, man. You're a fan favorite already, and I'm looking forward to having you back on already, and we'll work that out in the next couple weeks. But where can people find you? Again, it's simple to do, but I want people to go out there and join you and help you get to 1 million, brother. I'd love to participate in hitting that 1 million milestone with you.
Thank you, brother. The easiest way is on YouTube, Guns and Gadgets. I think I am the second most popular guns and under Guns N' Roses, and I'll take that. I'm also pretty popular on X. So if something's popping that's not really worthy of me jumping in the studio, I'll put it out on X. In the meantime, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. It's fun. Everybody, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I hope you're still a little overweight from Thanksgiving.
Yeah, kind of feeling it. Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, thegundies.com. Throw your vote for me in category top voices of the 2A, and for Jarid Yanis at Guns and Gadgets over at King of the Hill, because he is King of the Hill. And all you've got to do is watch his videos to know that. He's got a phenomenal, charismatic, and really entertaining way of giving you and just drilling down on a particular topic in every video that you're not going to get anywhere else. Jarid Yanis, thank you, brother. We'll talk to you over the course of the next few days, bring you back soon, hopefully before the holidays. Ladies and gentlemen, the roundtable coming up next. So what a fun couple hours this has been. The return of Neil McCabe. Will he make an appearance at the table with the other three of us? Yeah, I think that's likely to happen at some time down the road, but that's been fun. Great to have AWR in the first hour to round it out with Neil, and of course, Jarid Yanis from Guns and Gadgets. I hope you enjoyed the hour as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Coming up at 6 minutes after the hour, right at the top side, right after this break, we'll have Parkland Father Ryan Petty. We will have the CEO of Kahr Arms. That's Justin Moon. You know him. He's a fan favorite for all the right reasons. And, of course, combat vet and founder, CEO of Lead Slingers Whiskey, Brad Premo. Don't go away. We'll be right back at 6 after.
You just filled your prescription for freedom.
With Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association.
The National Rifle Association.
On the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, guys, I'm going to jump up a little bit here so you can see this sweatshirt that I have. This thing is like super, super high quality. Really cool. I took it out of the dryer right before I went on air. I was insisting that this thing get done. But this is one of our sponsors, Tyrannics. And you can check them out on our website at armedamericanradio.com. Apparel company. The real deal, ladies and gentlemen. This is super high quality stuff. But check this out. This was one of the ones I picked for myself here. There you go. Yeah. Gotta love that. The sweatshirt is super, super high quality, extremely comfortable, not too hot, but extremely warm. It's been in the 20s, 30s, 40s here for the last week, and I guess it's, we're at that time of the year. This thing's going to get a lot of use, and it's extremely comfortable sitting here in the studio. Doesn't shrink, none of that stuff. You can check it out at Tyrannics.com, and I've got a couple shirts with the same logo on it. There's tons of apparel over there. But on my last order, I grabbed this, a shirt with the same AR-15 style on it, and I got my kid a hat with the same logo on it because it's just cool to have. But there's tons of apparel there. Tyrannox.com. You can check them out at armedamericanradio.com, armedamericanradio.com. Do that. Makes great gifts. They ship right away, okay? So jump on it now is a perfect time as we're getting ready to head into the holidays. They make really, really good gifts. Also, don't forget our other partners over there, budsgunshop.com, heavensharvest.com, Crossbreed Holsters, the Patriots Relief, by the way, and the Patriots Relief products right here. I just want to show you that because this stuff works, folks. I use this stuff every single day. It sits right here in the drawer with me in the studio, and it's just a little bit of the cream, and it's got 2,000 milligrams per container. The 10% emu oil. This stuff works on pain. If you wake up with shoulders or elbows or something hurting, any arthritis, which I'm fortunate not to have, but nonetheless, it works. It works for me. It'll likely work for you. So give it a shot. It's fairly inexpensive for what you get. The promo code, by the way, at Tyrannox is AAR. Of course, it's AAR everywhere, and that's going to save you 15% on all the cool apparel that they have over there. It's a new startup over there, and we love those guys. We've known them for years. They've participated with us in various aspects and doing our web work and all that stuff. So support them. PatriotMobile.com. We'll be talking about them at the top of the next hour. PatriotMobile.com. This is a Patriot Mobile phone right here. I've got two phones out here. And, well, here's the Patriot Mobile phone. I guess it really doesn't matter. But here's the Patriot Mobile phone right there in that case today. So make sure to visit all of our great partners, including PatriotMobile.com. Use the promo code AAR, PatriotMobile.com/AAR, and take advantage of all the great stuff that they offer over there. And it takes 15, 20 minutes to swap a phone out, or however many you want to do. You can do them for your business. You can do them for your personal phones one at a time. You can do the whole family, whatever you want to do. Save some money and support the businesses that support this show, help keep us on the airwaves, and support your right to keep and bear arms as part of the company's mission statement. Go find that with your carrier. You won't be able to. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll see you at 6 minutes after here. In just 6 minutes, it's exactly 10 o'clock, top of the hour Eastern time, and it is 7 o'clock on the West Coast. We'll be back right after this. All right, guys, welcome back. I switched over to apple juice. Greg.
Okay.
Can't drink that Celsius anymore. It's too late. Got to stay and watch Landman, though.
This is Armed American Radio.
If they want to take my guns, they're going to have to bring a station wagon and a whole lot of friends because I'm not giving them anything.
From the Kahr Firearms Group studio
At the Patriot Mobile Communication Center. Proudly presented to you by the National Rifle Association.
National Rifle Association.
Here is your host of Armed American Radio, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting for your rights, Mark Walters.
Oh, folks, I hope you were buckled in. As you hear me say from time to time, I can judge how fast the show is going to go by how fast the breaks go by, and I knew when the first break happened in the first hour that it was whipping right by. Seems like we're just going to a break, and Greg says 30 seconds, and here we are back. So welcome in the Armed American Radio's Kahr Firearms Group studios. With me, Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day. And on the Sunday show, we're here in front of this powerful CZ USA microphone. Yeah, at the Patriot Mobile Ranch, which, by the way, has a lot of coyotes out there. Now, I just heard a bunch of them out there. They got a hold of something that's unlucky out there just a few minutes ago. Really do have coyotes back there in the creek down by the holler behind the studio there. And, guys, it's all being brought to you, of course, by the National Rifle Association. If you're just joining the program here for the roundtable, welcome in. And if you're on your way back in and you've been listening to the show, welcome back to the program. We appreciate it. All our viewers over at X, you can watch us over on Facebook.com, Facebook.com/ArmedAmericanRadio. Those of you who like to watch on Rumble, well, we made a snafu over there. And we're up on Rumble right now, but you're not going to be able to find us because it's not associated with us. And if you follow us, and you likely don't follow the other name that we had, so that'll be fixed for you tomorrow. Those of you who like to watch the program on Rumble, I can promise you that. Greg, welcome back in. And if you could tell people where else to go, we'll get the party started because this one's going to buzz right along too.
Yeah, sure. You can also watch the show over on YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can head over to X and follow the show at AAR Mark. You can also head on over to armedamericanradio.org or .com. Hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And lastly, if you want to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, thank you for that. And guys, real quick before we get cracking and make the introductions for the regular crew at the roundtable, thegundys.com, Gundies. Please head over to thegundys.com. If you love listening to the program, you can vote for me. Been nominated in Top Voices of the 2A. We could really use your vote over there. Our good friend Mark Smith walked away with it last year. Yeah, he's in the same category I'm in, and Mark's a formidable opponent, I can tell you that. But your vote would mean the world to us. We would appreciate it. Help us get in the top 5. Just honored to be nominated. We're thrilled by that. Help a brother out if you could. You can vote twice a day. It's the only time I'll ever ask you to be a Democrat. Vote often and vote early. You can do that at thegundys.com, Gundies. Top Voices of the 2A category. You can vote twice per day. If you share to social media, you'll get a third round of votes, and you can do that every day up through the 15th of December. And a lot of you have voted. We appreciate that so much. Also, Jarid Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, is listed as a nomination for the King of the Hill category. And a lot of our other friends who you've heard on the show, Diana Muller and Top Influencer, you'll find them when you're there. Give them a vote and support them. They're very important voices in the Second Amendment, and all of them making a huge, huge difference in this ongoing fight. Let's go over to Brad Premo, combat vet, founder, Lead Slingers Whiskey, fan favorite, longtime contributor. Brad, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's great to be here with you today. Thank you for jumping in here with us. And, of course, we're in the Kahr Firearms Group studios. Justin Moon, CEO of Kahr Arms. Justin, you are fan favorite, hands down. How you doing, brother? Welcome in.
Doing good, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. By the way, I got the ported X9. I picked it up a couple days ago. I thought I was fighting my son on the X9. Now I'm fighting him on the ported X9 as well because we had that thing out at the range yesterday, and it's wonderful. It's a real shooter. You got a winner in that X9, Justin. You really do.
Thank you, Mark. I'm glad you like it.
The thing is absolutely incredible. Both of them are, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, the magazines are interchangeable with the SIG P365 magazines. I just want to make that point. So it's extremely versatile. And if you've never fired a Kahr and squeezed the Kahr trigger, you're missing out, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you. It's like butter. You will love it. Favorite trigger on any of the guns I have are the Kahrs. Has been for many, many years. Ryan Petty, Parkland dad, longtime contributor, Armed American Radio, dear friend of the show, and that makes him a friend of yours, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan, welcome in, brother.
Mark, it's great to be here.
Where are you in the world today? I can't keep track of you anymore.
Well, I'm at an undisclosed location somewhere inside of Washington, D.C.
You're in Washington, D.C. today, huh? I thought you were going to be in California today.
That's next week.
Oh, there it is.
I'm going from a blue city to a blue state. I don't know what's wrong with me, but we'll have to get me a psych eval at a later date.
Yeah, you need to start seeking some help over here, man. So I want to make a point, and guys here at the table, Justin and Brad, you guys will appreciate this. It was a week ago, you were at a function at an undisclosed location, I believe also in D.C., correct?
Yes, sir.
And ladies and gentlemen, he texted me a photograph, and he says, hey, check this out. And here comes a picture of Ryan and Neil McCabe. And you had never met Neil McCabe until that moment in time when you snapped that photograph. And I'm really thrilled to say that Armed American Radio brought you guys together in a weird roundabout way. But I bet that was a lot of fun, right?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I show up, it's my first sort of party here in D.C. Wasn't expecting to recognize anyone. In fact, I wasn't even sure why I was there, to be honest with you. I look over, I see a friendly face. I go, I know that guy. I yell Neil across the room. He looks up and he goes, hey. So we took that photo, and we're grateful that Armed American Radio brought us together.
Yeah, well, that was kind of cool because as you guys, you may not know, Ryan, I think you do, but Brad and Justin may not know that Neil made his triumphant return back to Armed American Radio today and was on the show with us in the first half hour for the first time in, I guess, about a year. His military stint is done, so we'll be hearing from him. And we're going to bring him into the roundtable with everybody one time and put a 4-seat at the table just to have some fun as Neil is freed up and the chains are off, guys. All right, let's get started. Brad, I'll jump over to you first. What I wanted to do with you guys today was actually Google gun control live on the air and see what happens, because that's always fun to do. It's a little dangerous to do, but if you Google gun control, let's take a look at what comes up. And we just did this live, ladies and gentlemen. I have fun doing this. Sometimes it bites you, but it doesn't appear to right now. The Hill, gun laws may end up in the courts, but they start with Congress. This is a piece from 2 days ago. So, Brad, let's pull this piece up from the Hill. Always real gun-friendly place, right? Gun laws may end up in the court. Yeah, you're laughing. Gun laws may end up in the courts, but they start with Congress. This was a piece that came out just 2 days ago on the 5th. U.S. Supreme Court didn't just reject Mexico's $10 billion lawsuit against American gun makers. It obliterated it. A unanimous 9-0 decision in Smith & Wesson v. Mexico confirmed what Congress made clear 2 decades ago. The Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act of 2005 bars attempts to blame gun manufacturers for gun crimes committed by third parties. Yet, judging by his recent op-ed, Jonathan Lowy, the lawyer behind the spectacular failure, is back for an encore. The guys, I'm reading this spontaneous in real time with you. It's the first time I've seen it. This time targeting Arizona gun retailers. His November 30 op-ed in The Hill with co-author Pablo Arrocha also pitches Mexico as a global champion against gun violence. Brad, let's just start there. You heard it. What are your thoughts?
You know, it's despicable because, you know, the Democrats would love to get rid of that Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. I mean, they've identified that as something they want to take down as quickly as possible because, you know, I think they thought they found something when they got this idea to start trying to sue manufacturers out of existence. You know, it's just an end run around our rights, you know, in that effort. But the whole thing with Mexico being a champion for gun control and gun safety is laughable. You know, they're a failed narco state run completely by cartels. And, you know, if you remember that little snippet I sent you the other day, you know, apparently our own former DEA officials are involved in laundering money and you know, helping them obtain firearms down there. So
yeah, we're going to go there, too. Yeah, we're going there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the idea that Mexico is somehow an honest actor in all this is also laughable because it is a criminal state. It is a mafia in and of itself.
It's fair to call it a failed narco state, no question about it. Now, guys, I know Greg is going to tell me we're going to take a break. Justin, I'm going to go to you when we come back from the break. I don't want to have to get to you right now and then have to rudely cut you off. But I was kind of skimming through this while you were talking, Brad. And this does not appear to be, on the surface, an anti-gun hit piece over at the Hill. And let me read this as we go to the break, and we'll toss it back over to Justin when we come back. Congress passed the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act to stop activist-driven lawsuits intended to bankrupt gun makers for crimes they did not commit or for which they were not responsible. Interesting. Now, talking about Jonathan Lowy, it says here in the top of the bottom of the last paragraph, prior to this one I just read, he seems to be hoping it will distract media and especially donor attention away from the legal brick wall into which he just sprinted headlong. Then the statement I just read, and then it continues. The statute codifies basic tort principles. For example, that liability requires a direct link between a defendant's unlawful act and the harm alleged.
Funny.
The lawful manufacture and sale of firearms that are later trafficked by criminals across borders do not meet that standard. So good, what appears to be a fair piece from the Hill. Justin is the CEO of Kahr Arms. We'll talk with him about that in greater detail when we come back right after the break. Guys, I don't know if you can see this. I was talking with Greg. I was mentioning that Greg got a Fratelli's pizza in the at the beginning of when did it come in? The beginning of the last hour is when you got it?
Yeah, about an hour ago.
All right, so I'm going to send you guys. I'm going to hold this up and see if you can see this in front of the camera. Let me bring the camera back to full size here. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. You should. There you go. You can see that. That's one piece gone out of that Fratelli's pizza. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the only pizza I've ever had that's better than this, because it's very similar. There's other pizza, like there's Premo's around Woodstock, Georgia, that's dynamite as well, but it's a different kind of pizza. But Fratelli's is the one closest to this that I've ever found is Marion's Pizza in Dayton, Ohio, which, guys, if you've ever had it, is bar none in a league of its own. Fratelli's is right there with it as far as I'm concerned. So I said, when you're done with the pizza, send me a photograph of how much you ate. So he just did that. Let's jump over there real quick so you can see this. Because Greg put what I guess I'd call it a hurtin' on this thing. let's take a look at Fratelli's here.
It's going to put a hurtin' on me.
It is going to put a hurtin' on you, but that's okay. It's one of those good ones. There you go. So there's only 2 pieces left. Greg has wiped out the Fratelli's pizza solo, by the way, in a studio that has a clear sign right in front of it on the door that says no food or drink allowed in studio. And we always joke about that because, Greg, I have never been in any radio studio in the country, and I've been in dozens of them, that didn't have that sign up. Yep. That the garbage can right next to the host microphone wasn't filled with empty pizza boxes, Subway wrappers, and empty Coca-Cola cans. Okay,
that sign is for the rookies.
That sign is for guests that come in. I guess it's the station's own PLCAA, right? Fun stuff.
Yep.
Just protecting them. It's funny. Mark Wills, multi-platinum country recording artist, was in the studio with me in Atlanta a number of years ago. He's a good friend of mine and a neighbor, by the way. And Mark and he had a huge, I'm going to call it like a big gulp size drink with him. He picked me up at home and we headed into the studio together in his pickup. We stopped at I don't know what, a Circle K or a racetrack or something like that. And he got this huge drink. We got to the studio and he set it down across the table from me. And the board at AM 920 was brand new. $150,000, $200,000 board.
It sounds like this story is going to make sure that board wasn't brand new for long.
Well, when he set that thing down, we went live, and he went to grab it, and he kind of bumped it. And I said, "You are a multi-platinum recording artist, right?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Good, because you're going to need that if this board gets busted while we're sitting in here."
Yep. 30.
And, yeah, the board was only about a week old, and my learning how to use that on a 1 week entrance into the studio was. Yeah, I was a little concerned about
crash course.
It was a crash course, but no big deal. No, we had a lot of fun with that. So, all right, guys, we're getting ready to come back right now. I'll just keep it all up for you here. Why not, right? Oh, man, I'm jealous of that pizza. That stuff's good. I've had that pizza in Dallas, in the studio, too, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was for the listeners.
I didn't know the mics were so loud. Yeah, I know. I was here. I ate it.
Not only did you eat it, you ordered it.
Segment of
Exactly.
was proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, guys, you can do that, nra.org. It's really simple to do. We make it easy for you. Just visit armedamericanradio.com. As I mentioned in the first hour of the program, there is a lot of really cool stuff getting ready to happen at the National Rifle Association, ladies and gentlemen. They are doing everything right. Some of it painful, but has to be done in order to make it right. And they're doing it all for you. And I am so proud and I am so honored to be a part of what's going on over at the National Rifle Association. And really, how am I a part? Yeah, Armed American Radio, that's great. But I'm a member. And that's what's important. And you need to be a member as well. Please, won't you join us at the National Rifle Association, nra.org/AAR. If you live behind the blue wall, it's even more important. It's incumbent upon you to step up and get in this fight. And it's as simple as joining the National Rifle Association. It's that simple. We make it easy. You can find all the deals over there. It's $35 for 1 year. Jump in with us for a year, okay? Get the card, all that cool stuff. And one of you, the giveaway's done, but one of you is going to win that one big giveaway, all of you who use the AAR promo code. One of you, right around Christmas, we're going to make that announcement, is going to win another range bag filled with some really cool swag, okay? And if you're still waiting for that range bag to come, or the binoculars, hang in there. They got slammed with this. They're getting them out little by little. It was more important to get you your membership stuff. The bags and everything are coming from a different location, but they are going out. Some of you have gotten them, and those of you who haven't will be getting them over the course of the next 3 weeks. So hang tight with us. Hopefully you'll all have them by Christmas. Welcome back. Justin Moon, CEO of Kahr Arms. Now, the PLCAA plays a major role in what you do and how you do what you do. So, and I don't think I've ever asked you this question, Justin, but with the PLCAA in place, has that changed anything about the way you do business before I go into the meat of my real question? I just want to ask that up front.
That law has nothing to do with negligence or product liability. So, right. Manufacturers have all the, liability if they actually do something wrong. What that law does is it protects lawful commerce from these, ridiculous lawsuits. I mean, if Mexico wanted a better chance to win, they should have sued President Obama and the ATF for Fast and Furious, because there's an example of, the government giving guns to the cartels directly.
Yeah, that's a great point. In fact, I don't think we've ever approached it from that perspective until just now. It's the first time that's come up from that perspective. Why do you think they didn't?
Probably because Mexico's owned by the cartels, and the cartels are paying off so many of these Democratic politicians to take away our guns.
Yeah, you can always follow the money, can't you, Justin? Now, the reason I asked that question, follow the money, baby. The reason I asked that question, Justin, and really, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I asked Justin that question is, I just got 2 Kahr guns. I have several of them. I just got 2 new ones recently, those X9s. But if that X9 were to explode in my hand and blow off my fingers, wouldn't that be a product liability case? That has nothing to do with the PLCAA. Why do you believe, I already know the answer, I want you to explain it to listeners, but why do you believe that the left doesn't want us to know that?
Well, I'm sure the left knows it, but they want to fool us into trying to take away our gun rights because they're working for the cartel. It's like in New York. Why did the mob, do gun control through Tammany Hall? Because, when they were shaking down the stores and people were armed, they would shoot their, shakedown guy.
Guys, Justin, you're spot on as always. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about pushing an agenda, okay? They don't want you to know what we just talked about because it doesn't fit the narrative that they're trying to pursue or that they think they own, which, again, toot our own horn here. This is why this program is so important and others like it. Channels like Jared's and everybody else's, folks. You gotta pay attention to this stuff. If all you do is headline surf, you're going to think that, well, they're not liable for anything. They are. They're liable just like any other company, just like any other product, for product liability. But they are not responsible for the actions of criminals. The left doesn't want you to know that, even though they know that. Well articulated. Justin, spot on. Now, Ryan, you're an FFL. Your thoughts?
Well, the reason they want to twist the truth and they don't want the average American to understand how the law works, and that firearms manufacturers are still liable, for those kinds of, for negligence or those kinds of product liability issues, is because what they would love to do more than anything else is directly link the actions of a criminal back to the retailer and manufacturer, so that they can tie the retailer and manufacturer up in endless lawsuits and force me to hire an attorney to defend my lawful actions, force companies like Justin's, like Kahr Arms, to defend their legal and lawful actions, in the hope that I'll just give up and quit being a retailer, and in the hope that they can cost Justin so much money that Kahr Firearms goes out of business. That's really the ultimate goal of what they're trying to accomplish by eliminating the PLCAA. And so that's the end game for Democrats and gun controllers. That's really what they want to see happen.
Yeah, again, agenda-driven, right? Purely agenda-driven.
It's 100% agenda-driven. So if they can't get to gun control through legislation, or they can't get gun control through court action, what they do is then go after the pockets of retailers and manufacturers and make it unprofitable to actually do business. And that's really what they want to do. And what that means for the average American, look, maybe I go out of business, maybe other manufacturers go out of business, at the end of the day, what does that mean? That means Americans aren't getting their firearms because the manufacturers aren't building firearms. Or they just decide to go do something else. Look, Justin's a smart guy. We know that. He could do a number of things, right? Other than manufacture firearms, and I'll probably just give up and shut down my retail business. So that's really, at the end of the day, what the goal is, and that means Americans aren't able to exercise their Second Amendment rights.
And it's a multi-pronged affront, ladies and gentlemen. The reason I say that is because if you look back over the Biden years, what they were doing with the zero tolerance, for example, at ATF, by putting gun shops out of business, law-abiding gun shops, for not dotting an I or crossing a T, literally, that's exactly what they were doing, and revoking licenses. There were revocations up over 500-600%. When you combine it with this, it's devastating to the firearms industry, and that is exactly what their end game is. Brad, we're going to move over to you, and I couldn't help but jump ahead here as everybody was talking and looking during the break. What would concealed carry, and again, we're Googling gun control for you, ladies and gentlemen, in real time, spontaneously on the air. We've not seen these before now. I'm just doing it live. Ask the trace, Brad. What would concealed carry reciprocity mean for states with tighter gun laws? Ladies and gentlemen, pay very careful attention about what I'm going to read right now. And then when we come back from the break, I'm going to take it to Brad, then Justin and Ryan. Over the last 3 decades, carrying concealed guns in public in the United States has become easier and easier. First, in the 90s, states began to guarantee permits to anyone who can legally own a firearm. Then the 2000s started removing permit requirements altogether. Now a majority of states, 29 as of 2025, require no license to carry a loaded gun in public, a policy known as permitless carry. That led a reader to send us a question concerning concealed carry reciprocity. Here's the question we'll take to the break. If your state has decent laws, which Michigan, where I live, has okay gun laws, the constituents of my state still have to follow our state's laws. But could someone from Louisiana come here and have the very lax laws of their state apply to them while visiting Michigan? Is it a race to the bottom? Wait till you hear the answer when we come back on Armed American Radio's Monster Cast Classic Roundtable. Don't go away.
They would have loved that.
Oh, man, hilarious. Guys, welcome back. We're already on the bottom. Golly, it's already...
Bottom swing.
Whew, I can't believe it. Flying right by.
Feels like it just started.
It does.
Tonight's
right
really
by.
going by.
Mm-hmm. Unreal. Yeah, this one moved, for sure. Camera's up, mics are up.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sebastian Gorka, letting you know that the Desperado Sport Fishing Crew in Virginia Beach, Virginia supports Armed American Radio and our right to bear arms. Now, back to Mark Walters.
Now, back to Mark Walters. Love Sebastian Gorka. He's a wonderful guy, and I know that Ryan Petty ran into him last week in Washington, and they were talking about Armed American Radio. He's a big fan of the show, by the way. And Ryan, thank you, because you were talking about the rejoiner and how much we love him on the show, and I appreciate that very much. Guys, welcome back. Sebastian Gorka, gotta love him. Kahr Firearms Group Studios lit up. CZ Mike on fire. Patriot Mobile Command Center rolling. Yeah, it's all brought to you by the National Rifle Association and all of our great partners. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com, armedamericanradio.com. Do your shopping for Christmas at our website and support these amazing businesses that support this voice on the airwaves every single day, 6 days a week, now 17 years on the nation's airwaves. We appreciate it. And you can show your support at thegundies.com, GUNDIES.com, as well as we've been nominated for Top Voices of the 2A. Throw us a vote, if you would. And Jarid Yanis as well, who you heard in the previous hour, for the King of the Hill category, okay? Brad Premo, welcome back. So I started quoting from this Trace piece in the previous segment. Let me go back to this. If your state, this was a question that was asked of the Trace from a reader. If your state has decent laws, talking about national reciprocity, which Michigan, where I live, has okay gun laws, the constituents of my state still have to follow our state's laws. But could someone from Louisiana come here and have the very lax laws of their state apply to them while visiting Michigan? Is it a race to the bottom? Here's the answer from the Trace. It's a timely question. No, it's not a timely question. The answer to the question is no. But I digress. Congress may vote as soon as this month on a bill that would require national concealed carry reciprocity, effectively allowing the residents of those 29 permitless carry states to carry guns nationwide without a license. So let's dive into the specifics of concealed carry reciprocity and what a nationwide law, a longtime gun rights goal, would look like. Brad, why didn't they just say no? Because if I go to Michigan, my Georgia laws don't apply. Look, I could have an 85-mile-an-hour speed limit in Georgia, which I don't, but I could. Let's say I lived in Montana and did, or Texas. I can't drive 85 in a 70 in Michigan and be within the law. I have to follow their state's laws. Why didn't the Trace just say, no? Brad? Do we have Brad?
Yeah, the piece is meant to, yeah, I'm here.
There you go.
The piece is meant to it's just fear-mongering is what it boils down to. I mean, common sense, anybody who has taken the time to, obtain a carry permit in the state they live in, I would hope that it was made very clear to them when they obtained that permit that when you go across state lines that you need to make sure that you understand the law in the state that you're traveling through. Fortunately, over the years, I mean, I've had a carry permit since 2001 when I turned 21. So, but over the years, a lot of the states around Tennessee, their laws have become a lot more like Tennessee's. I think when I first got my permit, Alabama had some weird stuff going on, and there's a few other little oddities like that. Maybe in Georgia might have had something, but pretty much everybody's kind of fallen in the line anyways. But, fact of the matter is that, you still have to follow the law where you're at if you want to be a law-abiding person and avoid, trouble. But, when it comes to the national reciprocity, it's really not any different than having a driver's license. I mean, my driver's license is recognized in California, any other state in the union. Same thing, we've been told we have to recognize marriages from Hawaii and California and Tennessee. So I don't really understand why it's such a big deal or such a foreign concept that California would have to respect the fact that I have the ability to carry a firearm in my home state, and that should cross state lines because, it is a right. Your rights don't stop at the state border.
Well, I mean, Justin, does California recognize my marriage license?
Yep, they certainly do.
And my driver's license?
Yep, absolutely. I've been carrying a gun since I was 18 legally. So,
right.
I mean, I haven't shot anybody or killed anybody yet, so I don't think a law's gonna suddenly turn me into a criminal because I'm carrying a gun.
Well, you know what's interesting about this? You're right. I did catch that. I've been carrying a gun since I was 18 legally. I get that. I feel you. But take a listen to this. This is fascinating to me. As I scroll through here, I'm looking for their answer of no, Justin, and I don't see it. So they go on with this nonsense, gibberish about it's a timely question, Congress may vote, talk about permitless carry. Then the next subhead is, what is concealed carry reciprocity? They go on to talk about referring to the patchwork of state laws, policies, agreements that determine whether one state honors concealed carry permits from another, on and on and on. Importantly, reciprocity is often not mutual recognition of states' permits, blah, 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 and on and on. It takes about 15 paragraphs before they finally get to this. The reader who posed the question worried that reciprocity could mean the weakest state laws effectively override stronger ones. The reality is more complicated. Oh, we still haven't gotten to know. So they just flat out refuse to say it. Justin, why won't they just tell the truth?
Because the truth doesn't suit their narrative, Mark.
Boom.
That's why.
And how many times, Ryan, have we seen this over? It doesn't matter what the topic is, Ryan. You famously said it. We quote it on this show every single day. The left will never what, Ryan?
Stop.
Why? Why can't they just answer the question? The answer to this question is a simple one, is it not? No, that's not true. Those who come from Louisiana to your state must abide by your state law. Why can't they just say that, Ryan? Why?
Well, I'm guessing one of the writers over at the Trace is getting pretty good with those Chat GPT prompts and probably said, "Hey, kick me out a 1,000-word essay on reciprocity." And before they knew it, they had another piece to publish.
Yeah,
look,
go ahead.
They're never going to tell the truth. Justin said it. It doesn't. The truth does not suit their narrative. It would have been very simple to say you're required to follow state laws in the state in which you are in. I'm in Washington, D.C. right now. I'm uncomfortable with that. I'm uncomfortable walking around alone, although I'm in a fairly safe area thanks to President Trump and the presence of the National Guard here. The D.C. police are now actually doing policing work.
Have you seen the Guard on the streets while you're there?
I have, and we even took an opportunity to walk by the memorial where the two guardsmen were shot, and the one soldier lost her life. Terrible place, lots of flowers. The people here, many of the people I've talked to on the streets here appreciate the work that the Guard's doing. They appreciate what President Trump's trying to do, and I'll tell you, even the D.C. police here appreciate it because they're now out solving crimes and not having to deal with the little nonsense stuff that happens on the street. The Guard's presence here is certainly made me feel safer because I have to abide by D.C. law while I'm in D.C. and the Trace knows that, and it would have been simple enough for them to simply say no. A visitor from Louisiana or any other state must abide by the laws of Michigan. But again,
it's too easy.
That doesn't help them get clicks and likes.
Well, it doesn't make for a very good column, does it? If all they had to say was no. The guy's name is Chip Brownlee. Now, I have to, you mentioned ChatGPT. I wonder what Chip Brownlee will do when he queries ChatGPT and ChatGPT sends him back information saying that he has embezzled over $5 million from the Trace. Wonder how he'll handle that one.
Yeah.
I know somebody. I know a guy that happened to, right? Yeah.
Chip Brownlee's probably using ChatGPT for dating advice also, so.
30. All right, guys, I'm not even going to go there. I said what I said, and I'm going to let it stand right there. But, yeah, guys, if you want to know what I'm talking about, just Google Walters v. OpenAI, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, because that's what ChatGPT did to me, and I sued them in a landmark case. And I lost. Because I'm a public figure. So it can say anything it wants about me, including that I commit massive fraud, embezzlement, and felonies, and get away with it. So there you go. Anyway, I have to digress on that. When we come back, we're going to go over to Brad, and we're going to change the subject. We've only got one more segment left. I told you it was going to fly by. I hope you got your seatbelt on. Stay locked and loaded, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in 4 minutes after this break. You are on the Armed American Radio Network. I am Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom. Please visit all of our great sponsors at armedamericanradio.com. Get some of your shopping out of the way for the gun lover in your life, and we will be back right after the break. Don't go away. One more segment to go. This one flew by, guys. Really, truly did. I hate that it's too late to crank this Marshall amps in here. After the show, I feel like ripping my guitar for a little bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in about 3.5 minutes. One more segment left with the boys. Mics are back up. Yeah, I promised my son I'm going after work and watch the new Landman episode, so it's going to be a late night, because after that's done, I'll get out here and get the podcast done. Ooh, speaking of that, make a mention of that. We can
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Armed American Radio Network continues. One more segment to go here on your Sunday to start your week. We appreciate you being here with us in the Kahr Firearms Group studios. Got this cool Kahr hat going on over here. Got this cool Tyrannics, really super high quality sweatshirt going on. The hat's super high quality too, guys. Picked this hat up at the Kahr facility last year at the Rod of Iron Festival. We'll be talking about that coming up after January, soon after SHOT 2, because believe it or not, October will be here before you know it. But some great partners over there at armedamericanradio.com, and one of our best sponsors out there too is Attorneys on Retainer. All right, right up there with Kahr and everybody else. National Rifle Association, they're the real deal. Attorneys on Retainer.us, attorneysonretainer.us. We'll have Joey Hamby on the show, hopefully on Sunday next week, to talk about some recent developments in that case we had talked with him about a couple weeks ago up in the Prescott Valley area of Arizona. More is coming out. Let's just say a tremendous amount of corruption is being exposed, and it is absolutely incredible. And the police chief came out and made statements as well. This is not a position you want to find yourself in, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Whether you have attorneys or not, but I guarantee, do not want to find yourself in a situation like this young man who was finally acquitted of all this after a great length of time, only because Attorneys on Retainer had his back, all right? Believe me, and he didn't have him up front. Guys, just get it done. Attorneysonretainer.us. If you carry a gun, carry this card in your wallet. My kids have it. My wife has it. You and your family, everybody who has a gun should have this. You heard Jarid Yanis talking about it too. I don't care about the promo codes. Use AAR if you want. If you don't like me, but you like the content of the show and you love Jarid, and that's why you were listening, use the CNG, okay? Or GNG promo code if you want to. Just get it done, all right? Attorneysonretainer.us. And all of our great partners, all of them, can be found over at armedamericanradio.com.org. We got you covered all the way around, and we appreciate all of our amazing sponsors, all of them. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. Don't forget Barrel Buddies to clean your guns the right way. I use them. I've already used a bunch of them to clean the 2 cars that I have that just came in. Super, super easy to do. BarrelBuddy.com. Not only can you go over there and buy the Barrel Buddies for about $14.98, you can also become an affiliate and make some money in the process at your range. So it's a no-brainer. Everything here at Armed American Radio is designed specifically for you. I use it all. You should be too. ArmedAmericanRadio.com. Brad Premo, CEO, Lead Slingers, former combat vet. Brad, I'm going to switch gears here, and I'm going to go in a direction that I got to talking about with Jarid and with AWR Hawkins, and this is arguably, it has nothing to do with guns, but it's fun to talk about because it came up with Neil McCabe about, we're coming into a big year in 2026. We've got midterms. It's the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, Brad, and the Democrats can't do anything but hate Trump. And this is an interesting question. I can't wait to hear from you and from Justin and Ryan on this one. Do you believe, because the Democrats won't give Trump credit for anything, nothing, it doesn't matter what it is, they're in lockstep. Will they even participate in the nation's ongoing 12-month, 250th anniversary? Because Trump's going to blow it out, bro. Imagine what the 4th of July is going to be like this year. If there's any way to buy stock in a fireworks company, now's probably the time to do it. Good heavens, will the Democrats even participate, Brad, or do they hate this country and Donald Trump so much that they just make fools of themselves?
Oh, they're going to make fools of themselves.
I agree.
There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, these are people that are actively, inciting
violence,
disobedience, and violence, disobedience in the ranks of our military. They're siding with drug traffickers. If they do engage with this birthday celebration, it's only going to be to point out the places where they think that America is bad. They're going to point out, say, the garbage about being on stolen land and racism, and everything that they basically have built their brand on is based around the fact that somehow America is an evil, terrible country, and of course only they can fix it with their socialist, communist ideas. And they have to destroy everything that most normal people think makes America great. So they're not going to have to celebrate it. It's not in them. They don't have the ability to see what's good about this country. And so then this is going to be physically impossible for them to actually participate. They can't get there mentally.
You know, I'm in agreement with you on that one. Now, Justin, Neil, who you know very well from participating on the show over the years here in the roundtable with us, he took a little bit more pragmatic approach. He said they're not going to have a choice because the celebration will be so overwhelming. I disagreed with him in large measure for the very reasons that Brad just said, because that will make it look like they're giving Trump some type of credit for something. And they don't like this country. They don't like where we are. They hate Donald Trump. They hate the patriotism. They can't stand it. Justin, what do you think they will do? Will they in any way, shape, or form actually celebrate America's greatness when all they've been trying to do is tear us down and Donald Trump down and MAGA and anybody that supports anything they disagree with?
You know, Mark, you're absolutely right. The Democrats are completely hate. It's a party that really hates America, which is amazing. So considering that everything they have is because of America, but they really don't like the Constitution. They don't like the liberty. They don't like the freedom. They don't like the prosperity. You know, the only thing that they want to do is they want to sell our country out to the cartels.
Yeah, I'm going to take that as a no. They're not going to participate, right?
Yeah, they're not going to participate.
They might try to make it look like they're participating, but I don't know how successful that will be. Ryan Petty, what are your thoughts on that? I find it a fascinating question, and it really is. Now that we've brought it out to the open, it's going to be interesting to watch it unfold, because also, let's tie it into the midterms as well. That my suggestion to Neil was that that's not going to bode very well for them in the midterms when Americans see them throwing hatred and sand all over a massive, and you know Trump is going to go blank to the wall on this, Ryan. They're going to hate every minute of it, aren't they?
They're absolutely going to be miserable. And look, I had to check with ChatGPT before I answered this, because I was gonna just say no, but yeah. But anyway,
I appreciate your honesty, brother.
Here's what's going to happen. Look, the left hates America, and the left needs us to hate America, because what their plan is, what they're trying to do is to get us to give up our constitutional protections and to get into this majority votes, majority rule kind of situation, a pure democracy or whatever. That's why they use that terminology all the time, and they never use the term, constitutional republic. Mm-hmm. They want us to get us in that mode so they can seize power, and then, oh boy, watch out. Now, the pragmatic Democrats, the ones you'll probably see on, you and I won't see them, but some people will see them on MS Now or whatever that station's called, and CNN and some other places, the mainstream media folks, they're going to say, they're going to be more nuanced. They're going to say, yes, I love America, but America is a terrible place. Or America has all these sins. Or America was not always a great place for everyone. And so they'll qualify it. And that's how they will try to not participate in Trump's celebration. But look, it's going to be big, massive. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah. It's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be
Trump. Be excited about being Americans.
You better believe it. At least most of us will be, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I don't see it happening, and it is going to hurt them in the midterms. I believe it will. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am on this one. I really, truly don't. I do not see the Democrats jumping on board. Ryan Petty, thank you for being here, man. I know how busy you are. Good luck with all of the work that you have to do tomorrow. Brad Premo, CEO, Lead Slingers, combat vet, former law enforcement. We love you. You're a fan favorite for a reason. Justin Moon, Kahr Arms, thank you for your support. We love you. Fan favorite for a reason. We're going to get up and do it tomorrow. See you on the radio, guys.
You just filled your prescription for freedom.
With Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association.
The National Rifle Association.
On the Armed American Radio Network.
All All right, guys, appreciate it. Took it right down to the wire, man. This time flew by today. It really, truly did. Hope you enjoyed the program as much as we enjoy bringing it to you, man. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. We are going to get up and do it again tomorrow because they don't want us to talk about these things, which is why we do it every single day. In fact, it's what makes it so fun and so enjoyable. And we couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without our sponsors. Please support all of them. And support me over at top category of Top Voices of the 2A at thegundys.com. You can vote every single day. Vote twice a day, every single day through the 15th. We'd appreciate it. Support Jarid Yanis. And you're going to see some other names on there as well, too, for top podcasts. Tom Gresham's over there on Gun Talk. He's been getting my vote every single day. Diana Muller's been getting our votes. You'll recognize a lot of the folks on there from being on the show. And there's also a lot of folks that you won't recognize. But there are tons of them over there that have been on the show over the years. Support them all, won't you please? It's how we do this, ladies and gentlemen. It's all of us scratching each other's backs. Thanks for being here. Support our partners, armedamericanradio.com. Join the NRA. Get yourself an attorney for $35 a month, as Jared said, before the prices go up. And stay safe out there. And we'll see each and every one of you on the radio tomorrow. Thanks for being here today, guys. Love you. See you on the radio.